Hello, hello, hello. Can anybody see me or hear me? And happy Cancer full moon. Is everybody just PMSing or is it the Cancer full moon? Hello, hello, hello. Okay, can you see me and hear me? I see comments. I have my mic hooked up and I've never had this mic hooked up before, so while I'm live at least, so I don't know if it's working or not. Okay, great, great. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Cancer full moon video. Hello, the real Alicia Nicole, Metalhead Tarot. Hello. Okay, thank you. Thanks for the feedback. I appreciate it. Okay, so we're doing this Cancer full moon video live. If you saw my community post, oh, hi, Sarah. Nice to see you. If you saw my community post, I have been doing the 2025 horoscopes for weeks. 4 weeks. I started on them like mid-December, and I spent like days taking notes and doing the charts, and then I started filming them, and then I got sick at the end of December, and then I had to basically it's been a rough ride with those 2025 horoscopes. YouTube, I fought with YouTube like all weekend long to get them up. It kept only uploading half of the video, and I thought I was gonna have to split it in half, and it was like a whole thing, but I finally figured out how to do it, and they're up now. But because of that, I was wanting to get them up by like Friday or Saturday and then film this video for you guys yesterday, but because I didn't get the horoscopes up until yesterday, I didn't have time to film all this and upload it and edit it. So we're just doing it raw, real, on like right now, I forget what it's called. Like, basically we're doing it live. Okay, so hello everybody that's coming in. Hi Andre, how are you? I haven't seen you in a while. So basically this Cancer full moon is everywhere. If you haven't noticed it, I'll point it out to you if you haven't, because it is literally everywhere. If you really want to learn astrology, something I tell those that have, learned astrology with me, taken my course, or that I've taught astrology to, if you really want to learn astrology, you really look around at life and it becomes so clear, right? Look at the kind of movies that you're watching or shows that are coming out. Look at the events that are going on in the world. This Cancer full moon is definitely everywhere. And we're going to kind of talk about where all it is. But basically, let's kind of just keep this structured so I stay on path, because when I go live, I don't know why I get all over the place. But as I always start with, what the fuck is a full moon? So a full moon is when the sun and the moon are opposite in the sky. Full moons basically symbolize peak moments, things coming to light, and that is because on a full moon you can see the moon in the sky. It lights up the darkness, so things come to light, right? Some people see them as endings or culmination points. They can be culmination points. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. Les Soul or LA Soul. I don't know which one it is, but I know who you are. I see you everywhere. But anyway, so basically this Cancer full moon is, the full moon is in the sign of Cancer. I'm already like, as you can see, like losing my spot, but this full moon's in the sign of Cancer. So Cancer as a sign really deals with our needs because it's ruled by the moon, and the moon is the closest object, the celestial body, to to the earth. And so, because of that, it's almost like the ancients viewed the moon as like a mother, or like the mother of earth in a way. And because she rules the tides, she influences, she quite literally influences our worlds, whether it's the tides, women's cycles, all of that. And because she's so close to Earth, we feel her the most. So, this is why we feel new and full moons, and why I do new and full moon videos. And all of that is because we feel these things the most. And the way that the moon moves on a day to day basis will dictate our moods and so much of our lives. And so, because of that, because the moon rules Cancer, Cancer really deals with a lot of the things that the moon deals with, which is basically our innermost needs, our sense of security, safety, addressing matters of the heart, things, our emotions, basically, right? I always say, I think of Cancer because Cancer is the crab. I think Cancer is like where the ocean meets the shore, right? And so it's like, kind of the beginning of water, right? The birth of water. And so, with this particular full moon, though, the reason this full moon's so edgy, and that there's so many edgy things going on with so many people, is because number one, the moon is in her home sign. So she's very, very powerful here. She's very, very intense here. We feel her on a much more profound level than we may in other signs. So any Cancer full moon is definitely going to be emotional, jam packed with, kind of PMSing like symptoms, you know what I mean? So we're definitely going to feel that emotional aspect. But number two is that Mars is in Cancer very close by this full moon. Since I'm doing this live, I didn't do charts and stuff because I don't know how to them up on the screen when I'm live, so you're just going to have to trust me on this. But Mars is a few degrees off of this full moon, and so Mars is stirring up trouble in the waters of Cancer, basically, right? And so what this full moon, I think, is really bringing up is, and the themes that I've noticed is troubles, issues, or tensions, conflicts, even threats to safety, security, home life, family support, right? These are like the deep maternal needs that we all have to be supported, to be, High Creek, Ryan. These are like the deep internal needs and instincts that we all have to be supported, to feel safe, to, have familial bonds with people in our lives, right? Like, Cancer is kind of like the sign of the mother, right? There's so many theories that, in the beginning of time, in the beginning of Earth, everything was aligned in the sign of Cancer, that Cancer is the gateway to, mankind, humankind. And so it's this very like sensitive, like you think about like a mother and her child. It's this very like sensitive, um, maternal, deep, emotional, protective kind of energy. It also rules over dependency, right? And so with Mars and Cancer, we have the god of war, this like masculine, raunchy, feral planet in Cancer, just like, terrorizing the sign of Cancer and the traits of Cancer. And so, because of that, we see things like the fires in LA, right? Like, this is very Mars in Cancer. People's homes, people's support, families, on fire, which is very Mars. Issues with the water, very Mars, right? Mars is in fall in Cancer. And so that's why it's a little bit more of a menace here in Cancer than it is in other signs that it likes to be in. And so in Cancer, we can find that there's a lot of conflict with Mars in Cancer, right? Because Mars is in fall in the sign of Cancer, right? And so it's definitely horrible what is happening there, and very tragic. Now, on that note, Mars can also bring up weaknesses in masculinity, whether in males or females, a lot of the times. So kind of issues with our masculinity, issues with taking charge or doing the right thing. And I think, those that are under kind of scrutiny right now because of these fires, I think that we see a lot of those themes with, some of the things that I've at least seen in terms of, making decisions and making emotional decisions and being able to be in a role of leadership, which is very Mars. And again, Mars being in fall in the sign of Cancer. And so basically, I think that, this Cancer full moon, it's like how I see this Cancer full moon is like, we want to relax, like we want to just rest. We've been in Capricorn season where it's just like, all right, buckle up, get your grown up panties on and get shit done, like stop complaining, stop whining, and just freaking get the job done, like go boo-hoo somewhere else. Capricorn's very practical and realistic, and it's not very much about the emotional world. Cancer is about the emotional world. And so with this Cancer full moon, this is highlighting like, certain important things going on with us that do need to be integrated because our emotions do matter too. Our emotional worlds drive kind of how we do things physically, right? Our moods, our feelings, our sense of safety and security really drives how we go about the world in a physical way. What we create in the world physically, right? Like Capricorn's about creating safety through the material world, and Cancer is about creating safety through the emotional world. So I think that themes that we could really see for this are addressing grief, undercover tensions and emotions, needs, instincts. Our intuition can be extremely powerful right now. Topics of safety, security, family, and home life, and support. I think that I've just seen a lot of people like kind of complaining this week and just very Cancer full moon, you know what I mean? And not saying it's not justified, but just in terms of like, oh, my boss sucks, or oh, the officials in charge of, LA where these fires are happening. Again, very Mars and Cancer. Like I think that there's just tensions arising that need to be addressed, even though they deal with very vulnerable topics, they deal with very sensitive matters, and they deal with, home and family. And, things that, again, are very maternal and very just vulnerable in general, right? And so these are the things that we really can see coming up. I've also been watching, I wasn't really sure too much what it was about, but I see the astrology in a lot of like shows and movies that start like coming out. And oh, wow. Oh my gosh. Yeah, eviction can definitely be very Mars and Cancer. Well, hopefully you get it figured out. I'll definitely send good vibes your way. I'm glad that you're laughing about it though. But yeah, so it can cause troubles in these departments where, we feel safe, where we're supposed to feel secure with family, with, security, support, etc. Right? And so the other thing though here that I really wanted to kind of talk about with this Cancer full moon is Venus and Saturn are coming into their conjunction at the end of this week. And so I think this is going to be a really interesting transit that I wanted to talk about that we're going to come back to. So whatever starts coming up by the end of this week, just be prepared because we're coming back to it in a couple months in March. March is literally crazy, like the craziest month of 2025. If you watch the horoscopes, I said that probably in every single one. So with Venus and Saturn being in Pisces, and now with the North Node in Pisces, and I think I'm going to do like a prediction video for 2025 on just like the collective and for everybody, because I really feel like I have a very different perspective on this year. I know that some astrologers are just like doom and gloom and World War III and, all of that. And I have a very different perspective on this year, and call it, just call it optimism or whatever. But being too optimistic or being overly positive, I've given predictions before that were not very positive. If you go look back on my, predictions for 2020, for 2021, 2022, I've given predictions that I've not been scared to say when I see negative things. And I don't feel like this year is going to be a bad year or the negative year that some people think it is, because we have so much pointing to unity and pointing to things coming together in so many ways. And I just feel like that's a huge theme I keep seeing lately. But anyway, we have Venus and Saturn coming into their conjunction this weekend. And this is a really interesting transit just because it's going to come back around. And so what I really see with this Venus-Saturn conjunction, Venus is the planet of love, relationships, beauty. And when she combines with Saturn, we're mixing that with this karmic, Saturn's a very karmic planet. It deals with maturity. It deals with lessons and obstacles and kind of growing up. And so with these two coming together, I really think that we're having this combination, because a conjunction is like two planets really combining their energies together. And almost acting as one sugar daddies. Potentially, can't rule that out completely. But thank you guys. I'm sorry I'm not completely focused on the comments because I get distracted so easily. But no, I feel like Venus and Saturn and Pisces is very, very interesting. So obviously karmic relationships, right? But I really see this, it also with Venus and Saturn brings in this theme of commitment. What do we really desire to commit to? And I think there's been so much, and what I've been saying, if you've been like following my videos, is there's been so much around like, what do we really desire? Like, what do we really want? What really is our heart's desire? And I said in my last video that, one of the biggest things I tell people when they come to me and they're like, I just don't know what I want. And I tell people this is because it's a lesson I've had to learn. But when you don't know what you want, it's because you don't know who you are. So to figure out what you want, you have to figure out who you are. And the reason that this is so important is because this year, so much of it is about figuring out what we truly, truly want and what we truly desire. Venus and Jupiter are really big players this year. And with Venus being exalted in Pisces, she's going to retrograde, in Aries and then come back to Pisces later in the year. And so we're really going to be reflecting on what we truly want, what we truly freaking desire, and getting aligned with that and moving forward. And so I really see this as, yes, karmic relationship themes and potentially closing out or releasing karmic cycles with relationships, healing karmic cycles with relationships, themes of trust and commitment. But it's like, what do we really, really want? And what are we willing to commit to? And I think those questions really start coming up this week. And this is like in the grander picture of this year, we're coming back around to this in March. And then we're finishing it in April. And so by April, it's full speed ahead. April is the month where we're done. We are done like doing a lot of the healing and reflecting and backtracking, and we are finally moving the fuck on. That's April, okay? But the build up to April, January is this big preview reflecting month while we're also kind of, getting used to this nodal shift of Pisces and Virgo. February, there's not too much going on, but it is still a buildup. It is still kind of a reflection period. March is like the massive pivot, revelation, realization month where everything just gets crazy. We're clearing out so much old to prepare for something new. That's where the retrogrades start. And then April is where we're moving forward full steam ahead. We're realizing whatever we needed to realize. We've learned the lesson and we're moving the fuck on. April is full steam ahead, moving on towards something new or towards some kind of new life, some kind of new chapter, some kind of new era. Okay. And then May, we really get serious about it and we really start building it with Saturn moving into Aries and conjunct, moving into Aries and aligning with Neptune. So there's going to be like a huge disillusionment this year where we see where we've chased after things in the past that we haven't really wanted. And we're getting clear and we've learned those lessons to figure out what we really do want and who we truly are. And who we truly are is so mixed up in this because Mars first started its retrograde in Leo, which is all about who are we, right? And so much is going on with Aries this year, which is about who are we. And with Aries and Pisces being like, the first and the last sign, it's like we're leaving so much and healing so much and letting go of so much, clearing so much out so we can move forward with something very, very new. And so, like I said in my last video, this whole freaking year looks like the universe is like, I'm going to make sure you guys really freaking understand these lessons. And I'm going to make sure by having like so many freaking retrogrades happen in so many freaking of these different places, these same places, and so many transits moving back and forth there. So you really, truly understand the lesson. So there's something that we need to understand this year before we move on. No, Lisa, I'm fine. I'm just feeling this Cancer full moon. I'm just a little bit more relaxed and I haven't went live in forever. And so I'm also kind of all over the place because of that reason, but I'm fine. So basically I think this Venus-Saturn conjunction is the start in that and is a step in that story is what I'm trying to say. Venus-Saturn is like, where are we building walls around love? And something that I've personally really realized, I don't know if I have moderators in here, but there we go. Basically, something I've really realized when it comes to relationships in general is so many of the issues, the conflicts, not all of them, but if we're with somebody that we truly love, thank you, Alicia Nicole, I appreciate that. I did too. I didn't know, oh my gosh, really? I don't even know what they're saying, but okay. So many of the, I forget what I was saying now. Oh, so many of the issues that we have in relationships, like whether it is, whether it is like if it's someone that we truly love and we care about, but we're having issues, right? This wouldn't be the same, obviously, if it's someone that you are not really truly in love with. But if you're with someone that you truly love and you truly want to be with, and all of that, so many of the issues that will come up in a relationship really all just show you where you have defenses around loving deeper or harder or more. So basically that is, that's what comes up a lot of the times with, and I feel like that's what could come up with this Venus, Saturn conjunction. Where do we build walls around love? And how does this person have so many accounts? Or is it like multiple people? Like, I don't, I don't understand. I'm so confused. But where do we build up these walls? Where do we build up, these boundaries around love and not allow ourselves to go in or get more vulnerable or let down these walls, right? Now, obviously, outside of that, for some people with Venus, Saturn, this could be about having boundaries in certain relationships in terms of, relationships with family or relationships with friends or whatever, so some of that could come up too. But I also feel like some other themes we could see with this are acceptance of imperfection, letting go of the past. There's a huge theme of the past with Cancer full moon too, but now that we have the North Node in Pisces, there's going to be a lot of kind of, nostalgia, reflecting on the past, kind of combing through and really letting go of what we need to let go of. Yeah, I mean, the internet is definitely a crazy, crazy world. Yes. Yes, Justin, that definitely could be it. This is in my 12th house as a Leo rising. So, and I just realized earlier, all of the issues that had been going on with my 2025 horoscopes is so like 6th, 12th house, because I was like doing, like working so hard on that video, just so like 6th house, like working so hard, not really getting much rest. I ended up getting sick and that slowed me down. And I was just like, wow. And then there was just so many delays and setbacks. And it's like I had to keep going and like just triumph over all this setbacks. And I was like, wow, this is so 12th, 6th house. So anyway, but the acceptance of imperfection or letting go of the past, themes of maturity and wisdom, what do we truly value, what truly means something to us, gratitude, appreciation, things like this. And so I think that, with this Venus and Pisces conjunction, we're really kind of, when Venus is involved, it kind of makes something look good, right? So thank you, Joni. It kind of makes something look good. So with Venus and Saturn, conjunct, it's like Venus is making Saturn look good. So it's kind of like, oh, commitment, that kind of looks good. I want that. Or compassion or acceptance, that kind of looks good. I want that, and so it's kind of bringing this likeness to Saturn in some way. And with Venus being exalted in Pisces, that really helps as well. So that is basically what I'm seeing for this Cancer full moon. I know this is not anywhere near how my videos typically are. I can't, like, when I film a video, I have to, like, really be, um it's hard for me, like, when I'm live because I wanna, like, say hi to people, and then I have weird comments, like, like that's happening, and I don't know, I just get all over the place for some reason. Um, so with that being said, thank you, Joni. No, you're fine. Like, I love that you guys are commenting. It's like showing me that, I'm not just like talking to myself here, but it's just I'm not used to it. I'm not a professional live streamer here, so it's just not my usual my usual thing. So, um anyway, I think also there's something with it too where it's just like this kind of like this need or this feeling like I have to keep going, you know what I mean? And so whereas when I'm just like filming, like I can like stop for a minute, like be like, okay, like wait, where was I at or what do I still need to talk about? And I can just cut those parts out, but like on live, I can't do that, so I kind of get all over the place. And so okay, so we're going to go ahead and go over what this means for each sign, starting with Cancer rising. I always start with the sign that the moon is in. So, okay. For Cancer risings, this full moon's obviously happening in your sign in your first house. So Mars is in your sign being terrorizing a lot of things, but with it, being in your sign, you could be feeling this way. So as a Cancer rising, with this full moon being in your sign, a lot of the times a full moon in your first house, at least for me, what I've really noticed with full moons in my first, I love full moons in my first house because it's almost like a time of like coming back to yourself, right? It's kind of like this feeling of like, oh yeah, that's right. I remember who I am again. It just feels familiar. It feels like, yes, this is me. This is the energy I like. This is what I'm used to. And so with the full moon being in your sign, I think that it could definitely feel like that. You could also be feeling a lot more emotional, a lot more intuitive, a lot more nostalgic, but also with Mars there, somewhat angry. There could be hidden resentment or hidden anger, hidden grief, kind of, coming to the surface. You could be a little bit more frustrated or agitated around this time. You could also feel like uh, you are noticing things about yourself that you no longer relate to or that no longer feel authentic to you. Like this would be a good time to like make changes around your identity and your appearance and your health and your body and your vitality. This would be a really good time to kind of make changes, but those changes could be derived from feeling over something or just feeling fed up with something or feeling done with something, this place of just almost like anger and frustration and irritation. You could be feeling very moody. And I mean, and all of this could have been going on for like the past several days before this full moon. So, but either way, there's also, this kind of like release that can happen if there is something that you are kind of worried about or something that you are kind of, struggling with, some kind of belief change, spiritual practice, perspective shift, releasing, could really help here with, Mars trining Neptune in your ninth house and the North Node being there now. You're really being guided to kind of some new, like, belief system or some new journey or some new spiritual practice in some way. And that could really kind of help resolve some of these tensions that you could be feeling around this time. And so, yeah, so that's what I'm seeing for Cancer risings. And I talked way more about like the nodal shift and all of that in the horoscopes. I went really in depth. It is a 6.5 hour video. I was actually like shocked that it wasn't longer. It should have been longer, but I did edit it, and so I did cut like a lot out and all of that. But um I was actually shocked because so many people in the comments are just like, "Oh my god, thank you so much for 6 hours." And I was just not expecting that at all. I was like, "Oh my god, people are so grateful for 6 hours, this 6-hour video." And I'm over here like, "Oh my god, I think I did too much. I think I got too detailed, you know?" Like, and so anyway, Leo risings, my fellow Leo risings, this full moon is in our 12th house. So, what I really feel this as, and what I've been noticing it as, is you could really feel like there's this push and pull or this tension between working and getting things done and doing the things that you know you need to do on a physical day-to-day basis, whether that's, something at your job, something at your work, something that's more time consuming, or some kind of project, or some kind of, practice or discipline or health routine, or there's something in your day-to-day life with your routines, your work, your health that you've been focused on, right? With Mercury here, with the sun here, but also with this full moon in Cancer. Uh, Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate that. With this full moon in Cancer and Mars in your 12th house, this is really like, okay, but I also kind of want to rest, right? Like, I also kind of want to rest. Like, today I just wanted to kind of rest and, take some time and just like relax. But I kept thinking about work and I kept feeling really bad for not doing this Cancer full moon, which is why I'm here right now doing this, right? Um, Oriana, hi. I haven't seen you in so long. Um, so it was just like, and so I was like, okay. And so I wanted to, and so I did, right? But either way, there's kind of this push and pull between rest, or even you could be feeling sick, or you could just not be feeling like yourself, or there could be some emotional stuff going on behind the scenes, or subconsciously, or something going on with your sleep where you are. It's kind of this push and pull between like wanting to keep up with your day-to-day habits and your work and your routine and wanting to work more, but also kind of being pulled away from that to some degree, right? Or pulled away from that to rest more, or wanting to rest more, or wanting to take a break, or wanting to take some time and focus more on your personal life, or be lazy for a little bit, or sleep in, or whatever. But it's like this push and pull, right? So it could feel like you're having to deal with that. This full moon in the 12th could be bringing up kind of hidden subconscious things too. What I really find around this time is you could start having dreams, with kind of hidden subconscious messages in it that are going on, down low that you're not really completely aware of in some way. Topics of grief, topics of abandonment, topics of things from the past that haven't been resolved. This is a time they could be coming up for you to resolve them in some way, shape, or form. Okay, this Venus Saturn conjunction is going to happen in our 8th house of finances and other people's money. Also, what I've really noticed about our Pisces 8th house, I kind of like that we have Pisces in the 8th house, because I actually usually like a lot of the Piscean transits. They do have another side to them, so it's not all, rainbows and unicorns, but it can really be about like tapping into money. Naya, hi. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you're here. I haven't seen you in so long. But basically, our 8th house can be very much energetic as well. So tapping into not only just money or abundance or, financial topics, but also the energetics and the manifestation and the expansion and the potential of that, which we're getting a lot of lessons of in 2025. Between our second and eighth house of expansion and contraction, being discerning and detail oriented with finances versus receiving and letting go and trusting the universe and all of that. Also with Venus and Saturn here, this could be resolving some kind of debt or some kind of necessary thing that comes up with finances, but somehow it's like a good thing with Venus there, right? Like, or something coming up with like your partner's finances or a financial commitment. Something like that could be coming up. But do remember, this is going to come back around in a couple months. So when Venus goes retrograde. And so there's something starting here that we're going to be reflecting on in a couple of months from now. Okay. So whatever this is starting at the end of this week, pay attention. What do we really want for our finances? What do we really want for our financial future? What potential do we see? What do we really actually want to commit to financially? Not only that, but topics of our career and our reputation and things like that could be somehow tied into this, with Venus ruling our 10th house and, Saturn ruling our 6th house. So it's definitely going to be, even a financial commitment with another person, that could also be the case here as well. So that is what I'm seeing for Leo risings. It's actually fun doing the rising sign horoscopes live though, because I see your guys' feedback and comments like in real time. That is what I was looking for earlier when I was saying in the very beginning when I was talking about being live. I was looking for the term real time. Hi Stephen, welcome. I just got finished for Leo rising, so you may have to rewind it a little bit. But okay, so Virgo risings, this full moon is in your 11th house of other people, social situations, organizations, groups of people, alliances, things like that, charities. And so I really think that with this full moon here, happening here in your 11th house, these are the topics you could see coming up. With Mars here, though, there could be, something coming up here, topics coming up here, making certain things delayed, or, something that bringing up potential conflicts with like friends, alliances, kind of troubling the waters with this moon energy here. There's a lot of reflecting on where you feel safe and secure in terms of, other people and reflecting on those topics versus what you want, with the sun in your 5th house and Mercury in your 5th house, what you actually want and desire for yourself, for, what you find enjoyable, or even topics of children could be coming up as well. So I really see this with your 11th house activated and your 7th house activated, and something I talked about in the 2025 horoscope for Virgo risings was I really see this as kind of resolving issues, tensions, conflicts, and differences with people this year. And it's funny because I got a lot of Virgo risings that have said they've already been kind of noticing that or seeing themes of that starting, that they basically became like hermits last year, like in like the last couple years, and that they're already kind of noticing this focus on, something happening and them having to kind of lean back a little bit and, depend on or rely on other people in some way. And I said in my horoscope that I think that this is the year that, Virgo risings are kind of learning to receive, or learning to allow themselves to receive, where the giver, gets given to, And so this is so much about trusting. But with Mars here, again, Mars is in fall in Cancer. That's the only thing that I don't like about this, is it could be, potentially bringing up some tensions or conflicts with other people, or some irritations, or, something like that. But also with it, where this could be even with, your partner, if you're in a relationship, or with other people in your life, maybe there's just tensions going on in their lives. But either way, there's certain topics here about trust, dependability, and receiving when it comes to other people. Venus and Saturn are also bringing these topics to the forefront as well towards the end of this week. Making some kind of commitment, potentially a financial commitment with another person or other people, with Venus ruling your second house. Different topics of trust, different topics of acceptance, appreciation, all those topics that we kind of talked about with Venus and Saturn. But this is happening in your relationship house, so this is definitely likely going to be about relationships and other people. What do you actually desire? What do you actually want? What are you willing or wanting to commit to, right? And so that is what I'm seeing for Virgo risings. Libra risings. This full moon in Cancer is happening in your 10th house of your career, your long-term goals, your ambitions, your future, just how you want your life to look at the end of it all, right? The legacy you want to leave behind, the goals that you're striving for, right? So this is a time where this full moon's highlighting this area of life, but it could also be bringing up potential upsets, tension, frustration, topics or issues with dependency, your needs, your needs in terms of your career, your, desires in terms of your career, where you feel safe, comfortable, and secure in terms of your career. And so there could be something here, like I could definitely see Libra risings having a very irritated boss around this time, or dealing with conflicts with authority figures in some way. It could be also bringing in potentially like these upsets between family life and personal life versus career and long-term goals and future and all of that. And so, and for some of you, it could even just be maybe Mars is you, right? Like maybe you're embodying this Mars energy of like, being more irritated in terms of your career, or dealing with frustration or anger in terms of your future career in some way, right? So, yeah, and then this Venus-Saturn conjunction is happening in your 6th house of also work, health, day-to-day routines. And so again, there's just a massive topic here for Libra risings on work and career. What do you actually desire, and what do you actually want to commit to in terms of your work and the work that you do on a day-to-day basis? How do you want to serve the world? How do you want to give back? How do you want to express yourself in your work and in your day-to-day life? What habits, routines, health routines do you want to commit to on a day-to-day basis, right? Or do you desire to commit to on a day-to-day basis? So that is what I see here for Libra risings. Moving on to Scorpio risings. For Scorpio risings, this full moon is happening in your 9th house of your belief systems, your outlooks on the world, foreign travel, education, I do find that sometimes, unless you are actually like going to school for something, or thinking about going to school for something, or traveling, um, sometimes these topics or these particular full moons may not be as intense for you, or you may not see or notice these kind of themes as much. I mean, I've seen these full moons play out in so many different ways, some that really had nothing to do with, the ninth house. So it just kind of depends on like the rest of your chart. But either way, there's something here where you could be kind of changing your perspective on life, or making a decision, or coming to some kind of culmination point, or even a breaking point where you're ready to move forward in some area of your life, or you're ready to kind of let the past go, or you're ready to kind of change something or make a change. Again, if it is ninth house related, which is where this full moon is happening at, it could involve topics of your outlooks, your beliefs, your educational pursuits, your travel pursuits, etc. This could also be you kind of, noticing topics of potential security threats, or frustrations, conflicts, issues with safety or security in your neighborhood in some way, or in your community or some way, or with your neighbors in some way, with Mercury and the Sun being in Capricorn in your third house. I also, we also have this Venus Saturn conjunction in your fifth house of your desires, wants, children, creation, hobbies, entertainment, dating. So this would be a really great time if you're a Scorpio rising and you're dating someone. Like this weekend, you could finally kind of make the commitment to like be with them. Or maybe your partner asks you to marry them or something, that could happen too. This could also be just, something going on with your children. Maybe they're committing to do something that they love, or, kind of, pursue a passion that they have or something. Or maybe you're committing to pursuing something you love, or some kind of passion that you have in some way. So those are some of the ways you could see that playing out as a Scorpio rising. So let me know though. Let me know how you see it. So moving on to Sagittarius risings. This full moon is happening in your 8th house of Cancer. And so this is, this full moon is really bringing in heightened emotions, potential tensions, stresses, conflicts, edginess with finances, and or with other people's finances in your life in some way. This could really be showing you, or just like even like financial agreements that you have with other people, or agreements on resources that you have with other people, right? Anything to do where you are financially obligated, obliged with another person, or in some kind of, shared situation with another person, or whatever. If you owe money to someone or they owe money to you. But this could definitely be kicking things up in this department. Showing you, and bringing up topics of dependency, safety, security, your emotional needs, family, in terms of those financial situations. Okay. And so this could be a push and pull between, other people's money, or, what other people have going on financially versus your own money, and your own resources, etc. Now, with Venus and Saturn being conjunct in Pisces in the 4th house, this could be you starting to make a long-term commitment in your home life, living situation, or family. So this could be, kind of like I just saw. Okay, Sag rising, and like I said, I got an early eviction notice today, so definitely accurate. So that would be a great example of this with the 8th house, right? Like if you're renting from somebody else, plus the fourth house is involved here with this full moon, and the full moon eventually trines Neptune, and Mars is trining Neptune down in the fourth house of home and family. And so some kind of potential loss, conflict, shakeup could happen here with, other people's finances, or you owing other people or them owing you. But with this Venus Saturn conjunction here happening later in the week, I think that there is a way that this could potentially be resolved, or this could even be signing a new lease. That would be a very big commitment with Venus and Saturn in the fourth house. And, again, like I said, this really deals with a long-term commitment. So, and so that could be that. But yeah, Venus and Saturn is bringing in some kind of topic of commitment, or kind of cherishing something more solid, stable, mature in some way. This, I mean, on like even more of a subtle level, like for some of you, this could be like spending time with like your grandparents this weekend with Venus and Saturn, you know what I mean? Like, because Saturn can rule over maturity, and Venus, just like having a good time, like, and so, but either way, it's kind of like, okay, like, what do I really want? And it's taking what we want more seriously in some way, right? And that deals with your home, family, and personal life, or potentially past with Sagittarius rising. So Capricorn risings, this full moon is happening in your 7th house of relationships. And so I bet you, if you're a Capricorn rising, almost put money on it that if you have a partner, they are probably moody AF lately. Probably is like, damn, are they PMSing? Like, what is even happening? Whether it's a man or a woman, okay? Man or a woman. Don't care. They are probably moody as hell lately. They are probably frustrated, have a lot of internal things coming up, potentially irritated, just being confrontational, all of these different things with Mars and the moon in your 7th house. Or it could just be other people in general, okay? If you work with clients, you could notice this with your clients. You could just notice this with, people outside of you in general, that maybe they're just being a lot more sensitive, a lot more moody lately, a lot more confrontational, having a lot of issues or having a lot of problems. But either way, this could be also just bringing up the topics of dependency, grief, support, emotional connection in relationships, the topic of safety and security, and communication, because this full moon and Mars and Cancer is trining a lot of these Pisces transits in your 3rd house. So communication, environment, and what you're kind of doing on a day-to-day basis could be coming into this somehow. We have the Venus Saturn conjunction happening later this week, and this is a big deal because it's going to come back around later in March when Venus goes retrograde. And so with Venus conjunct Saturn in your 3rd house, this could be some kind of commitment that you are signing up for at the end of this week, or something that you are realizing that you really taking it seriously in some way. It could be something that you are doing with other people, or that you're doing on your own. It could somehow involve your local environment, or, somehow what you're involved in, the people, places, and things that you're involved in on a day-to-day basis. Could also somehow involve your career or creative pursuits, or even creative projects in some way. But either way, there's something here that you are kind of taking more seriously, or realizing that you really want by the end of this week as a Capricorn rising. So moving on to Aquarius risings, this full moon's happening in your 6th house. So Again, you're probably noticing potential tensions, emotional issues or hangups, or a lot of sensitivities, a lot of like PMSing kind of vibes going on with your work or coworkers. Um, and or just some troubles that you're having with work, or you're having to work a lot harder and it just feels like you're not getting anywhere. There's like a lot of delays with Mars being retrograde in your 6th. And this could even be somewhat of like a little bit of an emotional breakdown for some of you, or maybe even just coworkers are having kind of emotional breakdowns over something. But either way, there's something going on here where you are definitely feeling heated emotions, or more intense emotions, or more up and down emotions, or kind of just a sense of moodiness, or topics around dependency, safety, security, grief in terms of health, work, or your day-to-day routines in some way. Um, it's like you could be just like wanting to focus and wanting to kind of lock in on like work and get shit done, but it's like maybe other people's emotions or your own emotions or whatever just keep kind of getting in the way and delaying you, or something along those lines. There just could be a lot of emotional conflict or tension going on in terms of your day-to-day work life. And with that being said, this later this weekend, we're going to have the Venus Saturn conjunction happening in Pisces in the second house. And this is a big deal because it's going to come back around in March. And so this is happening in your second house. So there could be some kind of financial commitment that you're considering or potentially getting into at the end of this week. There could be something here that you're just like, or even a purchase that you make, that it could be like a hefty purchase, or it just could be like a commitment in some way, or it could even be necessity with Saturn. It's like you have to do this, but it may like you're hoping it's going to pay off eventually. But do remember, in some way, you're coming back to this later on in March. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't do it or that it's a bad thing. But yeah, I mean, I really see this as you also really getting clear on what you want and what your values are in a situation, what your priorities are, and getting kind of serious about that in some way. That could be how this kind of comes up as well. So that is what I'm seeing for you if you're an Aquarius rising. Moving on to Pisces risings. So for Pisces risings, this full moon is happening in your 5th house of children, your passions, and how you have fun, entertainment, where your heart's desire, right? So with you having this full moon here, it's definitely potentially, as a Pisces rising, especially if you're a parent, bringing up some emotional, sensitive turmoil with your children in some way. Maybe they're just like acting out or throwing tantrums or just not listening lately. Maybe you're just like, um, like just fighting with them a lot, or whatever the case may be. There definitely could be something going on here though with your children, or quite literally with your like parenting, or in some way. And you could be really focused on certain goals, like in your life, and potentially goals that deal with other people in some way, or certain connections and relationships that you have that you're trying to get accomplished. But something in your internal world, or in your family, or in your children, or even with your own personal interest, just keeps kind of disrupting your flow in some way. Or there could be topics of safety, security, dependency, grief that are coming up as well in terms of your children, your love life, your passions, uh, you know, potentially family, things like that as well. So, and then also we have this Venus Saturn conjunction happening at the end of this week in your sign as a Pisces rising. So, this could be something that you are, again, like it's bringing up this topic of commitments, something that you really want to commit to, but it's in your sign. So maybe a commitment you're making to yourself. This could be kind of this like almost like you getting like mesmerized by like handling something in a mature way, or like, doing something that is like a big deal in a very centered, calm, wise, mature way. You kind of setting certain boundaries. You again making a commitment to yourself in some way. It's like there's something here that's changing, that you're seeing as more appealing about maturity or commitment or boundaries, or taking something more seriously to do with yourself, your body, your appearance, your vitality. And so this could be a new commitment that you're making for like your health, your body. Um, yeah, yes. This could be some kind of, commitment you're making for your health, your appearance, your body as well. So that could be something that you're noticing as well as a Pisces rising. So, okay, Aries risings. This full moon's happening in your 4th house of home and family. And the full moon itself is very much about home and family. So there's a lot of themes right now going on with your home, family, your personal life, your past, nostalgia, very sensitive or emotional, or, kind of moody themes and topics happening here with home and family. There could be some like fights going on in your home life or living situations, or with your family, or with your parents even. And it's like you're just trying to do your thing and focus on your career and your goals and your public image and what you want to accomplish in the world and what you want to do with your future. You're trying to live your life. Trying to live your life, man. And, there's just something frustrating going on with your home and family that's kind of pulling you to focus on your personal life. And it's like, I have shit to do, or I have a business to build, or I have a dream to create, or I have a house to get built, or whatever, right? And there's something going on, with your family life, or there is something going on in terms of like, potentially even your home, right? With Mars in Cancer, it could be like, issues with the water, issues with the gutter, or, something like that, like just bringing in these like troubles in your home and family life, and these frustrations and these irritations, but it's like you have to do something about it because, with it being Mars and Cancer, it's like bringing up topics of safety or security, or, whatever, or, topics of dependency in terms of your family, like maybe, a parent has to come live with you, or maybe you have to kind of, it's like you're going between being kind of like the caregiver in your home and family and being the provider, right? It's like that's basically what I kind of see here. And then this Venus Saturn conjunction is happening in your 12th house, which is really interesting. This could be some kind of healing journey you're committed to, some kind of vacation you're committing to, because you're like, damn, there's so much stress and tension going on. I am booking my flight for this vacation at some point. That would be a great way to deal with this energy as well. This could be just topics of commitments and relationships and trust and relationships and letting things go, or the past and relationships that are coming up, since Venus rules your 7th house of Libra. Topics of finances and resources and possessions and commitments, trust, they're coming up. So that is what I see for you as an Aries rising. Also, with Venus, Saturn in your 12th house, this could also potentially be something that you hadn't known before, something that was kind of hidden from you, kind of coming to the surface in some way as well. So moving on to Taurus, this full moon for you is happening in your third house of your kind of day-to-day environment, the day-to-day people, places, and things that you kind of interact with on a daily basis, and potentially short travels, extended family, neighbors, etc. So this full moon could be definitely kicking up things in your community, in your neighborhood, certain troubles, annoyances, irritations, frustrations over the last few days to a week in your neighborhood, or with your community in some way, or even with your family or siblings in some way as well. It could be bringing up topics of dependency, safety, security, grief, things like this, right? Now, there's kind of this push and pull between wanting to kind of potentially get away, or for some of you, even move, or at least focus on some kind of bigger objective that you're focused on right now, versus there's something kind of pulling you to focus on your day-to-day environment in some way, or there's certain things happening here that require your attention. Now, this Venus-Saturn conjunction is happening later this week in Pisces, and this is your 11th house of alliances, acquaintances, other people, groups of people, marketing, networking, charity, organizations. So with Venus and Saturn conjunct here, you could see those topics coming up, or you making some kind of deal or commitment with someone else, or a group, or an organization, or something like that, or even something being offered, here, like some kind of help being offered here, I could really see as well. So that's really interesting. Let me know how that goes down below, Taurus. I'm interested to know. Okay, Gemini risings, last but not least. This full moon in Cancer is happening in your second house of your possessions, resources, finances, priorities, values, what you own, what is yours, your own personal income and assets, what you depend on. So this full moon deals a lot with dependence, and it's literally in your house of the things that you depend on. So Mars could be bringing up some trouble, issues, frustrations, conflicts, tensions, messes here that you've been needing to clean up, or have to clean up over these last few days of you, or some changes here, maybe you lose a possession that was really valuable or important, or a part of your family's history forever, you know what I mean? Or maybe something breaks, you know what I mean? Or something like that, could be coming up around this Cancer full moon. And yeah, and it's you're having to kind of face these turbulent emotions, and emotional difficulties and conflicts and tensions. There is still also the topic of other people's money, resources, and finances as well, with the Sun and Mercury and Capricorn. So it's this kind of push and pull between relying on yourself versus relying on others, or relying on family versus relying on yourself. Something along those lines could be coming up. Venus and Saturn are going to conjunct later this week in your 10th house of career, public image, your long-term goals, your future, your dreams, what you want out of your life, and your kind of reputation and public image. And so with Venus and Saturn coming into their conjunction here, this could be something that you are, some kind of deal you're making, commitment that you're making, long-term commitment, or even a new dream that you're kind of starting to dream, a new desire that you're starting to have, that's going to require time or commitment or maturity or responsibility, or seeing ahead in some way, or planning ahead in some way, to do with your career or your goals, or whatever. Or maybe there's you're meeting with an authority figure or a boss, or something like that, to discuss something or plan something. And this could go really well with Venus being exalted here and meeting Saturn. So yeah, and then this could directly impact or affect your financial situation in some way. with it, you know, Pisces making trines to Cancer. So that'll be really interesting. I'm really interested to hear that, how that goes for you if you're a Gemini rising. So that is what I see for this Cancer full moon. I feel like that was all over the place. And so thank you to everybody that came and watched and hung out with me. I appreciate it. Should be back to my normal programming after this, now that I'm finally caught up on those 2025 horoscopes. And yeah, it feels so good to be caught up. It feels so good to like be able to release those 2025 horoscopes from my mind and not, because they were there for so long, like driving me nuts. And I just kept getting, I mean, that was insane. I mean, the delays were just insane. But anyway, so oh, thank you. I'm a Leo rising, a Libra sun, and an Aquarius moon. So thank you for asking, and I'm glad you're here. Welcome. So thank you guys. I appreciate it, and I will let you guys go. Enjoy the rest of your full moon night. Relax if you can. It will probably be a little bit difficult with Mars. That was what I found today. There was not really too much relaxing. So good, Danielle. Hi, I'm glad it was spot on. Alrighty, I will let you guys go. Thank you for coming, and yeah, have a good night and happy full moon.